What's going on, everybody?
Hello!
It is Pixel Partners here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. When we left off, we had a little bit of fishy business going on with Mr. Gossip, aka Mr. Boone, aka possibly Mr. Vigil. I almost called him Virgil.
Virgil.
That's his nickname. They call him Mr. Virgil. But yeah, Gossip turned out to be Mr. Boone, who is the guy who owns the apartment that Gregson was shot in.
Not owns, he's renting.
Well, renting. Using currently in his name right now, the apartment.
So we were thinking, dude, they're probably working together.
Or something. Hey, bye, bye. So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered. Has been here under our noses all along. And I did his updates testimony. Everything that fellow has found is true. For what difference it makes. Guess let's press that quick and see what that brings us.
Yeah.
So, you live in that room presumably, do you?
No, I don't live here. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a den.
Then, why would you want to rent it?
Well, I don't know what you have to say, really.
That's sus.
Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have access to.
That post up, right? It makes it much of a problem at all. It's only the bits and bobs that belong to me. I'm just gonna turn that.
People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room?
Well, obviously I'm not the faintest idea. I mean, that's causing me no end of bother, to be honest.
It seems to be that Mr. Boone would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason.
Yes, it does come across that way. And more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this, man.
Jesus, that sounds horrible. We will be your undoing.
So, interesting. Because maybe that isn't necessarily what's going on. Because he's saying that it could just be, this is going to carry off a disguise with a face like this. Oh, well. So, I don't think we've pressed these actually, so we'll go ahead and go for these two.
Yeah.
All alone, looking for them, something like that. You mean you have no family?
Nope, not at all. I spend my day on Prison Street peddling tidbits to passers-by. Hoping, just with your nonsense says, that eventually someone with your lips like mine will come along.
Oh my god. I don't think so.
You may be right.
Anyway, that mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore.
Well, what's the fella to do then, huh? If you don't believe me, we're the best. I got nothing I can do but flick my neck.
Looks like I'm not going to get anywhere here unless I can produce some proof.
I bet you got dressed up and put some fancy inspector, aren't you? Well, ask me how you think I could do that.
And just look at me, does it look like I carry off the sky? Hold this!
It's funny you say that.
Maybe you could say, with a mustache, or a beard to cover up that lip.
Hey, perhaps. If I was going to take some big faces out and cover up this fine specimen. I am looking like his lordship over there, wasn't I? Right, sir? Right?
Pardon? I assure you my lips are entirely unremarkable. And I would ask you not to cast such scrutinizing looks in my direction, counsel.
Sorry, my lord. I imagine she got the better of me there.
God. Well, Inspector Gregson did wear a mustache, of course.
You're right, he did. So, perhaps he was hiding something himself. He could barely have hidden a crumb in a mustache of that size. And it was the detective we spoke to who had no facial hair at all.
See, the capo is right. He was a clean-shaven.
It certainly seems beyond the realms of possibility that this witness could have disguised himself as the victim.
He does indeed.
That's the extent of their testimony, is it?
What's your feeling, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, what Mr. Boone says is undeniable. It would be all but impossible to hide those lips with any form of disguise.
Perhaps, yes, but nevertheless, the mark around his neck is equally undeniable. And it's identical to the one that Mr. De Rossi suffered.
Yes, that's true. But why does this whole disguise idea just keep playing on my mind? Huh. So how do we go about that? So we're focusing on the disguise part. Let's think about what we got here.
Throw the picture.
I mean, that's right now kind of at the #1 priority here for me.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure we don't jump the shark on this one.
Yeah.
There's a later introduction, but that's for us. That doesn't matter. Dismissal note.
Jump the shark?
Yeah.
You mean jump the gun?
Both of them work. Jump the sharks for a different kind of... I fucked it. Anyways, frame photo. I don't think that works. Can I look at... Yeah, no, you can just see this, but...
Yeah.
It's very interesting that we have that. There must be...
Wasn't that in the room?
It was in the room, yes.
Oh.
Which helps kind of provide the fact that
what if
they could all be connected.
The whole I don't have any family or whatever. What if you present that to that?
Well, no, because that'd be because that's for Mrs. Vigil. We'd have to tie him to being Mr. Vigil first. You're way ahead of the game. Remember, we can't make that mistake.
Maybe that would be further proof after we are like, hey.
Yeah, I was about to say that's gonna be proof to tying him to Mr. Vigil.
We should
but I
probably
want to
save.
make sure. Yeah, I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else that stands out as evidence aside from the picture, really.
Yeah.
But
there really isn't.
That's about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save in case I make some massive grave errors here. Put it right down there, pal. And then
Perfecto.
Let's do we go for it?
Yes.
Objection.
Nope. That's not it. So this is clear grounds for being suspicious on that statement.
I'm sorry, Counsel, but I fail to see why.
Damn it. Well, I was just playing devil's advocate.
Yes, you do appear to have something of the devil in you, Mr. Naruto.
Says that I'm merely dishing out penalties. So... We're gonna go with your other one.
With my idea?
Because if that's his room and that's his desk, why is this picture here on the desk? Let's see if we can do that to try and use that to put
Objection.
There we go.
I was right.
You were. If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. Presume as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not?
Oh shit.
Mr. Boone, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are.
I don't know what you mean. I'm a pig. I kept telling you so. You don't need to bother with me. But please just leave it alone.
As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case.
Oh, it does.
Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection.
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Those aren't his real features.
But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean?
If he's already wearing a disguise.
Yes, Counsel, what do you mean?
He said the thing, everyone.
There's no denying that Mr. Boone's lips are very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of an elaborate disguise. Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone?
Jesus.
Good witness, are you still hiding the truth from his court?
Shit.
If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be...
Yes, that's right. there's really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court.
No. Please. No.
And why is he doing this? That's what I want to know.
Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the street?
Well, oh, that's the wrong button. Press the-
Take that!
There we are. Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil.
I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is Mr. Vigil?
It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact, this is Mrs. Vigil.
What?
From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two Red-Headed League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation to testify in this trial. Because you've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we need to know where we could find you, of course.
Oh.
And that explains why you've not only been able to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry waiting for you at the Vigil residence. What I'm talking about? Really? It's simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All I have to do is pull off that disguise.
No. Wait. Don't do it.
Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once. Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will restrain the witness.
Good
That's
lord.
a hell of a way to do it.
See, my
Oui, my
lord.
lord.
That's wow. Yeah, they did court
Damn.
real different back in the 1900s.
Yeah.
No, stop. Go.
And
You
now
can't
have to
do
figure
that
out a new
voice anymore,
Yeah,
yeah.
because now he's not going to have any of that anymore. Oh,
Yep. He looks very different.
huh.
He looks depressed.
He knows. He's like, well, the gig's up.
I mean, even the redheaded guys, they said that he looked sad, and
Yeah.
he does.
Well, you're now seeing your true features, I presume.
Whoa, he quick changed.
Well, then, you can wash yourself up quite quickly over here. Oh, God, I have to think now, because now I have a new fucking voice. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. Why are you fucking posing like a goddamn GQ model right now? Okay?
It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. It has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before?
Like, he's straight up like 2 poses away from unbuttoning that shirt and making that tie half knotted. Ugh.
I don't believe it, but
See, there is no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park.
Extraordinary!
On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson, who appeared before Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, I can never remember these fucking things when we stop recording for a little while, in the park, was you disguised as the inspector. Or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all.
This is the violin music. It's just Sherlock in the gallery
Yeah.
making dramatic music.
oh, I love this soundtrack now.
Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warden at Barclay Prison.
Chief Warder, and your career had promise. Why would you quite possibly become the future governor of the prison? What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street?
Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years?
Bruh.
I don't know. What are your thought? What's your thought process on a voice for me? Give me some inspiration
He just seems
here.
tired and sad.
I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am daily vigil. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago? So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is the other me. Name I invented.
Well, evidently there's a great deal under the surface here.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become.
Wretched.
I was trying to say wretched, but it just kind of, the depression slurred over the rest of the words, so it just kind of went, wretched. It just kind of left at the end of the word. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay Chief Warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. Times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand to selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was only determined that my wife would not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account in the bank under the name of Hugh Boone. I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. It seemed the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. Place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler. I transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room, but that explains it.
Yep.
But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons.
Dang.
Without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them again. So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them? Yes. You made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you can sell to passing gentlemen, even at 16 pence a piece.
6 pence a piece.
I don't know why we're at 16.
6 pence a piece.
6 pence a piece.
16 pence.
I don't know where that came from. You couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder of the prison.
Very true. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment.
Well, that was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. I'll assume that Gregson's been renting the room from him and paying him the money to use that room is what I'll assume. But, what? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller. He, the inspector that is, recognized me one day.
Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours?
I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visits me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity.
So he would just keep giving him stuff.
Then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? Oh, what was it?
What was the whole fancy? What is?
I was to.
What is happening?
He has turned into a GQ model. What the fuck? Impersonate the inspector. What? Impersonate him?
Oh boy.
Oh, this is getting spicy.
Yeah.
We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me.
That's Gregson.
I'm trying to read that name. Orxies?
Orxies.
Visit office tomorrow and take the statement from the proprietress. I'm tense. I didn't have any kind of warm up for today.
That's the one line you've got to... Grace.
It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially.
A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive?
Jeez, Judge, that was a very long sentence.
Yeah.
That, as I am sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense.
Gregson was doing some no-no business, but for a good cause, I bet.
Yeah.
But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions.
I'm official. It's a solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, all right? Ever. Even if, well, find up a croaker.
Didn't that just turn out great? In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. Became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Well, fuck.
Yeah.
My word!
It's harder to pin you down as the
It is
murder on that one.
silent.
Damn it. Back to square one.
Yeah. He would have no reason to kill Gregson.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Oh shit.
Explain yourself, Prosecutor Sergey.
My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location the day before his corpse was discovered, at the hands of these two red-headed league men when they imprisoned the inspector. But no, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day. It was me.
He's like, ow. Oh, goodness.
Funny, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with this. It's the murder of the inspector.
And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. I provided it.
You provided proof.
Oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
Order! Orders!
I was thinking the same thing,
It
goddammit.
appears we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts.
No.
These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven somewhat ironically by the defense.
Oh.
Great. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination.
Hold it.
Oh.
Who was that?
I think that was a Sogi.
Yeah. What are you doing, dude?
Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission,
I
I'd like to
love
pose
this.
one
I
further
love-
question to
I
the
love
witness.
his prosecutor theme. It sounds
It
so
is
cool.
wonderful. Kazuma?
What question, counsel?
It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at the very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago? Execution of the professor, Genshin Asogi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh. Answer me, man. That's you.
One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case?
Yes.
Naturally. Though I think this might be his plan, was just hoping to be able to get the people involved in this in court so he could focus on that part, which is why he wants us here.
So he's like, yeah, it's totally relevant.
Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked.
I think they are too, because the whole, like, the list with the names.
Yeah.
And
Does the defense concur, counsel?
Oh, well, yeah. Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual.
poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father.
I know, I do understand that. But even so... Professor Asogi.
Professor?
Or Prosecutor Asogi.
Oof, don't call him Professor.
Huh?
That glare.
Do you...
What did you call him?
Do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please.
Oh, wow.
Partner.
Oh.
Yes! Very well. Then the defense has no objection.
Simp! I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness.
The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy.
No, he didn't like that answer. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
Well, 10 years is a long time, but to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job?
Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry? The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away.
It's called suppression.
But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. If only you had a Megaton to break those locks.
I know,
or something.
right?
And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't.
This is like Athena all over again.
Yeah.
Kazuma-sama. Phew.
But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another.
Damn.
Oh shit. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are.
Yeah.
He means to expose the truth at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction of what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not?
Do it.
I mean, why not? Do it! Fucking do it! I have
Do
no
it.
idea how this is going to go, but this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. Now, I'm going to assume this is going to be this. I want to make sure that I've checked. Chief ordered daily vigils relieve his post with immediate effect having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. I don't think we actually read this whole thing before.
No.
All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked.
Damn.
So you get, you're just like, okay, you got
Completely cut
screwed.
off, yeah.
So, we're supposed to do.
Aiding and abetting the escape from this prison of convict blank.
I wish
Just
we had,
prior to his execution.
you know, a smart me would have thought to read the fucking thing when we got it.
Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected.
That explains everything. And
What's
Barry
the third?
and Mr. Governor Caden learned
Yeah.
of that. Additional notes: indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration.
Oh.
It's believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded.
Wow.
So, in other words, he knew the professor ahead of time before he was even arrested.
He knew Genshin Asogi. He knew Kazuma's dad.
And he gave up his entire job
to make sure that he wasn't executed.
To let him to help him escape prison.
And save his life, basically.
But
why?
But then he got shot. That is the great question. I'm glad I read that, but holy shit. Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement.
People are probably screaming at us.
Yeah, I bet I'm sure there's been a couple times you talk about the thought of him being involved in. I think we said it like immediately after of like,
yeah,
what if he retired because they helped him get away, and it's in the fucking paperwork that even the officials knew.
We made theories, and it was already. Sorry, everyone.
I'm sorry. You know what? We'll do a lot better about checking the details and stuff next time.
Oh boy. Not just next time, from now on.
And in all future times.
Yes, whenever we get something new into the court record, we're gonna check it.
I can't wait to forget that the literal next investigation.
I will not let you forget it.
Oh shit.